All right, today we'll be working on rendering wood grain. And to do that, we're going to start off with a couple markers. In this case, we're using brown markers. I don't know what brand this marker is. I'm borrowing markers from my students at this point. Um, but I have two different shades of brown. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by drawing the knots of the wood. So that's what those two dots are. And then I'm drawing these oblong shapes around them, right? And as you can see, with each shape, they get a little bit longer, a little bit pointier. And now I'm just adding like a few filler lines. And you can see by doing this, I'm starting to create this wood grain. It looks a little bit familiar. Now, I'm not really focusing on any particular type of species of wood here. This is just like my generic wood grain. Now, if you wanted to, mimic a particular wood species, you can do that just by simply studying an actual piece of wood, right? I'm not too concerned with that. I just really want to represent a wood grain. So, as you can see, I've used my lighter marker, or a different tone, I should say, to fill in the wood area. And now I'm going back over it with my, I guess, second coat to highlight some of the figure in this wood. All right, another good one. Right, and this, it's a natural material, so it's very irregular. You'll be able to add all the figure that you deem necessary. Sometimes it can be difficult to not go overboard, but as long as you're consistent, I feel like it'll turn out looking okay. So there you have it. Now, although I said I wouldn't go too far into the weeds, I think it's important for us to talk about ingrain. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw what looks to be like a rectangle, but what I'm trying to represent here is a piece of dimensional lumber, right? So this would be like a 2x4 or 4x4, or, the lumber that you could find at Home Depot. Um, and the reason I'm sketching this is because I want to show you guys what ingrain looks like. So typically with dimensional lumber, um, these boards are quarter sawn, right? And that's the technique that I guess the lumber um, manufacturer uses to get dimensional lumber from a tree, right? And you can, Google and see what that process looks like. But where I'm drawing right now is the end grain. And the end grain typically represents or shows the rings of the tree. So if you were to cut a section of a tree, right, and you end up with like a disc, you'll see rings. The orientation in which the lumber is cut is perpendicular to those rings, so you end up seeing those rings as the end grain, right? And sometimes they can look like little curves, like I've drawn here. Sometimes they can be straight lines. It just depends on the size of the lumber and really the size of the tree that the lumber was cut from. So I'm just going to continue to use the same technique I did on the previous sheet to render out this wood grain. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the basics of rendering wood. Again, you can be as detailed as you'd like. You can even go for it and try to render different wood grains from different species, but typically this is what I do, and I think that gets the point across. So now that we have a basic understanding of how to render wood grain, I'm going to draw a product. I'll be drawing an Eames chair. Charles and Ray Eames are industrial design icons. They are famous for their explorations of molding and laminating wood. So I thought that would be a perfect subject matter for this demonstration. So sit back and enjoy the show. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.